Hey, what's up, everybody? It's me, Danae, and I'm here with a message for you. Now, today is a special message. We are absolutely going to get to a card reading today, but as promised in my message yesterday, today is a special full moon message. Today is the full super moon, mind you, in Pisces, today being August 30th, 2023. The moon itself is set to emerge at exactly 9:35 p.m. Eastern time, so my time, so make adjustments as needed. Now, as I said yesterday, I woke up with the intention of giving this message then and was completely stopped in my tracks almost moments before I was ready to record, and now I absolutely know why. A huge retraction came in that pretty much has changed the game for the perception of this moon for me and how I've been called to express it. And so I'm very excited to share that with you, and very grateful to Spirit for changing my perception, because I really do think it makes all the difference in how we really perceive and conceive this energy at this time. So given it's a little bit of information more than what I typically give for cosmic current events or new moons or full moons, what I'm going to do happily is timestamp. So you'll have the full moon or cosmic current event message, because it's more than just the moon, as a matter of fact, that's in play, which isn't super long, so don't worry. I do encourage that you watch it, but then I'm also going to timestamp the reading with the cards, just so that there's a clear distinction there, that if perhaps you want to just skip ahead to the reading, you're more than welcome to do so. No love lost whatsoever. But as I said, I think you might want to tune in and just hear me out just a bit. So without further ado, happy full super moon to you in the sign of Pisces. Now, this moon is bringing truth to light for all of the zodiac. It's a blue moon, so it's literally bringing once in a blue moon experiences. Now, in a word, we can consider that plainly to be miracles. Okay? So this is the culmination of full circle moments from the Pisces new moon back in February on the 20th to be exact. So kind of think about what you may have even been manifesting at that time. I know it's a while back, but look through some old pictures, some old notes. Think about what was going on during that time and what your spirit was calling you to look forward to, or even to do, to put into action back then. This is that full circle moment. And we know the expression, seeing is believing, right? But what's being revealed very clearly now in this time is that believing is seeing. So Pisces' cosmic statement is, I believe. That's the mantra of Pisces. So I have a question. Are you ready for a miracle? Are you ready for a miracle? Ready as I can be. Are you ready for a miracle? I don't know what she says after that. Are you ready? Ready, 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 ready. Are you ready? Are you ready for a miracle? And cut. That was not planned whatsoever. The Spirit just took over me. So are you ready for a miracle? There's actually, and now I know why, right? Because here's the next part of this. There's a scripture that reads, blessed are those who have not seen and have believed. Now that's in John 20, verse 29, where Jesus is ultimately talking to Thomas after his resurrection. And Thomas is affectionately known as Doubting Thomas, of course, by the Christian community, right? But ultimately, he was a supernatural skeptic. He didn't believe that it was possible for Jesus, whom he had seen hung on the cross, to have been raised up in physical form or energetic form, however it was perceived. And side note that I think is important, that the symbol of the fish is often denoted for Jesus. You've seen that on the back of cars and things like that. That's one half of the Pisces symbol for the zodiac. So just a little side note. What I heard in my own sitting with the message and why am I having a hard time finding the word? You know what I mean. Not prayer, meditation. Good Lord. In my own meditation, what I heard was, because you have believed, you shall see. So you are the miracle. This evolution of your perception of reality, which you've allowed yourself to overcome by way of the limitations of the everyday physical world, to actually perceive something beyond that, is the miracle in itself, and it's being expressed through you. This moon activates the Virgo-Pisces axis, which is the axis of heaven, Pisces, and earth, Virgo. Consider that not just the axis, but the access to heaven and earth, as above, so below. This transit is transitioning dreams to reality. Neptune, the ruler of Pisces, is the planet of dreams, intuition, and subconscious. Virgo, which is ruled by Mercury, is helping to ground the fantastical nature of Pisces into reality. The special guest, though, is Saturn, and this is part of where I kind of lacked a little in my message, just a tiny bit, because I mentioned it, but I didn't really connect to the importance of Saturn in all of this. Saturn is the ruler of 3D consciousness. That's everything that we can sensationalize in our world. In conjunction with the Pisces moon, because Saturn is in Pisces, that's what's actually materializing these rewards. We know Saturn is a rewarder, not just of fantastical folly, just fantasy for fantasy's sake, but that which have actually been worked hard for, as a matter of fact, and fortified by the works of our faith. And that is the biggest retraction that I want to insert here. Now, side note, we know Saturn is a rewarder, but it's a rewarder of hard work. It's not going to give you anything that you haven't worked for, whether it be in this life or previous lives that you have no recollection of consciously. It's not rewarding you just for the sake of fun and folly. It's something that you've already worked for. And this is the greatest insert of admission that I want to make now, because what I was missing is that there's a account taken for things that you've already worked on, that you've already invested in energetically. So Pisces is the last sign in the zodiac. It's the 12th house. And that concludes the sun's journey right through the zodiac. Pisces absorbs every lesson learned by all the previous signs, right? The ups and downs, the highs, the lows, joy, sorrow, it absorbs it all, and then releases it before then a new cycle begins in Aries. Now, as I said, I originally expressed the aspect of this moon as most full moons are, which is this call for us to release, and in particular with these aspects and transits, repressed emotions, illusions, delusions, which can be kind of the adverse energy of Pisces in a sense. And also that releasing happening by way of Virgo, which ultimately, we've analyzed this intel with the help of Virgo season as things that have been an obstruction to our progress, that have impeded on, our progression in life in one way or another. Now, let me insert here that there may still be some call for that. I'm not saying that it's completely eliminated for all. There may still be a tug on the heartstrings to dive into that subconscious and uproot some things that just are no longer, worthy to share your energetic field, or it's no longer even justified for them to be there. So there's that. But what I was redirected, this being the biggest interjection from where I was yesterday to where I am today, I was redirected to say that the work has already been done. So, we've been conditioned, as I've said many times in my readings, to always feel like There's, we're working for more, we're working for future. We're never enough in this moment. There's still yet something to be desired for us to acquire some desire, some outcome of sorts, some focal point of a finish line, I would say. But this is where Saturn is the game changer, because back when it went retrograde, and that was in June, specifically June 17th, right? We all received a personal invitation from our higher selves to do something specific or to surrender something entirely. Now you can think back to June 17th or after and think about what that has been as part of this manifestation period that for me actually regresses back to February, because there was something very specific that my higher self called me to do in February that was very hard for me, but I answered to it even not truly understanding what I was answering to. But it was this nudge in my spirit that called me to do something very pretty drastic by my regard, but I did it because I felt like it was important for me to do so. I really felt like it was a matter of life and death, heaven and earth in a sense. Or I should say heaven and hell in a sense. Okay, so back in that time, we received this invitation from our higher selves. Now your RSVP to that invitation is what ultimately paved the way or prepared you even for this miracle to come through. However you answered that call is what has ultimately brought you to this point of reception, for this manifestation of a wish fulfillment to commence. And it's ultimately that 10 of Cups energy that kept coming up for like a week straight. Remember, if you tune into any of my messages, the last maybe 5 or so messages, I'm not sure if it came out yesterday, I can't remember, but at least 5 messages in a row were coming up 10 of Cups in a profound way. So that's what we've been manifesting, even back when we've been called to do so, like I said, some as far as February, maybe even beyond then, who knows? I've been on a journey for a long time, but I know it was very specific to me, a very specific calling in February. And then when Saturn went retro, it took a whole nother turn, and we didn't really realize what was happening because it was happening on a subconscious level. Again, in those on that deep astral plane that only Pisces energy can access. It's far out, it feels distant in a sense. But the transits that are happening in this time with all these planets, about 7 planets in retrograde, and big ones, including Saturn and Mercury, is bringing literally a close to the gap between what's intangible and what is very much so tangible. So again, as above, so below, heaven and earth, okay? So all that's really left to release, if there is anything left to release at this time, is the muscle memory of the trauma. So remember I said Pisces, we take all those lessons, we absorb them and take the lessons from it, and then you release the energy according to how it's respective to do so. So a lot of us are still holding on to that muscle memory because, as I said, we've been conditioned in our mind to always be praying for a brighter tomorrow, for more, for something greater later, instead of actually seeing the miracle of life happening in real time. We don't often observe ourselves in that present awareness because we just haven't been conditioned to do so based on our past experiences, based on these traumatic occurrences that have happened, where every time you get a little bit ahead, you feel like there's still yet farther to go. Now, also, I want to insert that there may be more to go in some regard. There may be some sifting out that gets to happen for some of us. Maybe perhaps there are some that feel that they missed the call from Spirit or they left Spirit on red. But I want to say, take heart. It might just be a cause in a calling for changing your perspective of your circumstances to date. It might just still be that residue again of the trauma of muscle memory, the muscle memory of trauma. You may not even realize how much a small change, say back in February or some expansive time beyond that, maybe even as recently as June, July, there was something that you answered to that maybe didn't necessarily make holistic sense in the most practical way, but it made spiritual sense to you. Take heart that it could have been something that small that has made a huge difference in this present moment. Regardless of where you fall in that reality, all that is needed to evolve will be revealed. No matter how low you may feel in this evolvement or far behind, no matter how advanced and perhaps needing more, yet having more yet to release, whatever you need to evolve as the universal order is mandating it be so, will be revealed. It's just a matter to if you will receive that intel and put it into action accordingly. And what I'd like to say, more or less wrapping this up, is that answering that divine line, so to speak, is what is ultimately ushering or will usher you into an era of supreme authority, supreme spiritual authority, mind you, not just energetic authority, but the most supreme authority there is, which is over your soul and your spirit, which is from whence all comes in the material form. So as above, so below, actually in the earth as it is in heaven. So sovereignty in the spirit is a righteous reward for sacred souls that surrender themselves and submit themselves to be so. It is so, and so it is. And that is my full super moon message for Pisces. I hope that you receive it as truly a message of celebration, of stability for whatever you're still working on, whatever you're still focused on achieving or manifesting. Definitely take time that full moons do encourage us to do to rest, retreat, review your progress, because sometimes we're in such a work mode, as we're conditioned to be worker bees, always looking for a way to stay busy, that you can actually miss the message right in front of you that you've already done all you needed to do. Now the rewards are here for you to more or less open your heart and your mind, maybe perhaps even your hands, to receive. So you don't want to block that reception by fixating on the past in any regressed way that is low vibrational, or fixating on any anxieties of the future that haven't even occurred yet and may not even be set to occur outside of what you're actually creating for yourself, okay? So congratulations, rest, rejuvenate, definitely celebrate, and within that rest and rejuvenation, and it's yours. It's all yours. Be in total reception of the miracle that you're experiencing of yourself. And I was saying that in my message yesterday, that there's some way that you're going to experience yourself that you haven't before. And for many of us, it absolutely is being in this space of wish fulfillment, of not feeling like there's more to be desired. And it doesn't mean that there's not more that you aspire to or for or to do, but it means that in this present moment, you feel satisfied. You feel sanctified is what I hear. You feel in alignment with your spiritual nature. You have the evidence to show that the spiritual investments that you made, sacrifices for some, surrender in the highest vibration, have paid off. And that is what will give you the strength and the fortitude to continue on in that spirit of manifestation, having the cold, hard evidence in your hand, in your body, in your mind, with a new perspective of life, and your emotional self having released some of the burdens and the trauma that's just been storing up in our muscle memory, and things that have been plaguing us for years, holding on to people perhaps that we felt an obligation to do so because we've been conditioned so, releasing those energies. All of the release is coming by way of that, allowing those things to melt off of you that are not divined for your path anymore, that may have served a place and a time and a function, but now you are new and you're moving into something that is brand new and that is 100% yours, a gift from the divine to your life, as you are the gift of the divine to this realm. Okay, so that's that. All right, and scene. Hello and welcome to your full super moon in Pisces reading for today. Now, I can only imagine that given the information that came through as the cosmic current events and moon message, that there would be a synergy, but of course I'm open to however the spirit shall move, and we shall see together as I turn over these cards and see what we have leading the energy up. At the bottom of the deck, this is amazing. This is fast moving energy. This is all of that vibration. If you haven't watched the moon message before this, it's all time stamped, obviously, if you skipped ahead, right? But this is definitely a lot of what I spoke about. And for those that did tune in, you know why I'm laughing, because it's like this influx of energy, of force, of gifts, of creativity, of all things vital coming into the realm on account. These are the miracles that, these are the miracles, the things that you were manifesting way back when, maybe as far back as February, as I said, during the Pisces new moon. This is the culmination of those energies now coming flying into the realm from heaven into earth. As we talked about, the Virgo to Pisces axis is literally as above, so Pisces, so below, with Virgo, heaven and earth. And this is that energy here. Can you see it? Like, can you get into it? Just the picture of it. Do you see what I'm saying? And as I said, I definitely shuffled these profusely, cut the deck about 10,000 times because I wanted the message to be as pure as possible. And this is an amazing way. As a matter of fact, I'm going to take it out. And of course, the devil's there, but I'm going to take it out to start because this is where we are. Like, he has no dominion over it's like, it can't be stopped, what's happening. This is also Capricorn energy, which was this is the special guest of this moon transit that's ultimately bringing forth these rewards that you've worked hard for. But the work has been done on account of what? Resisting these strongholds in the spirit that have persisted. This is not just external influences. These are the influences that have come from our lower natures to keep us bound from ascending to the calling that was made on our lives to do something different, to surrender in some special way or specific way, to surrender things, perhaps people, places. Was very unique to each individual as to what that call was. Again, as far back as February and even as recent as June when Saturn went direct. This probably is actually the expression of Saturn retrograde here, with the devil card, because it's like, it's the energy of you. The other side of that is the world card. The world is also Saturn, and that's the expression of new cycles, but this is the answer to limitations. Sometimes we often are a little bit afraid of Saturn energy because it can be a bit constraining and bossy. When it has something specific for you to do, or to accomplish, it's very direct, it's no nonsense, and you really can't get around it. And that was the energy that most of us had to confront, these lower natures of ourselves, this aspect of pride and ego in the most demonic and diabolical sense that was moving against our free spirit nature. And yes, ultimately, yes, certainly, this spirit was reflected to us in actual people and places and things, but it was all externalized. As the song that I posted the other day by Dolo, everything that we've experienced on the outside has been some lesson or projection to us to overcome on the inside. It couldn't have connected to us otherwise. So if it was insecurity, if it was fear, if it was unworthiness, if it was, even things, if it was addictions, if it was possessive energy or obsessive energy in any particular way, shape, or form, it was ultimately those energies outside of us reflecting to us what we were being called to heal or overcome, so that we could allow the floodgates to open by way of the things that we truly desire to have. So it's really Saturn calling you to really do the work to advance your human nature for the spiritual essence to align. You couldn't have bypassed this energy you couldn't have gotten to this energy by bypassing this. It just wasn't possible. So with that, I like to say, if there's been any resistance or obstruction or determinations for demise, treat it with grace and gratitude, because it was ultimately the segue to your spiritual authority. It's like the final boss in a sense. You had to beat the final boss, or at least confront it, and ultimately it's within you more than it's without. You had to confront the reasons why you don't feel worthy to have all that you desire, the reasons why you don't feel equipped or responsible to manage prosperity, why you don't feel strong enough to connect to healthy relationships or be in healthy, prosperous relationships, why you don't feel worthy to receive love, why did you feel like you were only you were only worth being in a certain type of position or a job, or living in a certain place, or having a certain amount of money? Why did you cap your own wishes and dreams and hopes at a limited ceiling, as if there could be nothing beyond that? Why did you do that? You needed to be confronted with that energy, with the why, with the what first and foremost, and sometimes the who and the where, so that you could identify the why and your own discovery. Finding that awareness of self to know exactly what it is that's making you tick or not tick, and ultimately releasing that energy, or accepting it for what the function of it was for when it was necessary, but allowing there to be a transcendence or an ascendance beyond that limitation. And now this is what it has afforded. So thank you, devil, for all the things that you have done for us. We appreciate you. We do. We do. If we never say it enough, if we never say it again, and we probably won't. Thank you so very much for teaching us the ways, showing us the ways to our most supreme spiritual selves. And that's the way to transmute lower vibrational energy and ultimately ascend to something that's far more productive and prosperous and forwarding, okay? Which is where we are now. So enough of that. If he decides to come out again, so be it, but we're definitely going to move on from that. All right, so we got the Eight of Wands in here, and I'm probably going to keep coming back to that, because that's just phenomenal to start in the spirit of where we are right now. And he's still peeking around, so it's still full moon energy, which is always encouraging us to release. But look, we got the freaking Empress card here, who's the most supreme receptor of energy and reproducer of energy in the deck. Matter of fact, I'm gonna put her up high because I need some more space. This is literally, whether you're masculine or feminine, being able to receive a seed, to expand it, reproduce it in a sense, and then deliver it to its full form. So that's even more of a double, and this is Page of Cups. This is like childlike energy here. This is the deliverance of the full form in a sense. But it's also about a message, and I'll get into that in a second. But with this here, it's whether you're masculine or feminine, it's calling all of us to be in a supreme position of reception for all that we're about to embrace. You as a masculine energy, say this was the emperor, sometimes we can always, as I said, be in conquer mode, that there's still more to do. We gotta, all right, now I got this, now what do I do with it? Let me go do this, go do that. And yeah, there may be an opportunity for advancement in work as well. We are still in Virgo season, let's not forget. But I feel like in this moment, especially in this full moon energy where we're generally encouraged to rest and retreat in a sense, it's just a little bit of a difference because of that Saturn vibe that's kind of kicking it up a notch. And the Empress is an expression of that because, as I said, she is reproductive. She's definitely not just sitting on her ass all day long. She has a kingdom to run or oversee or command or whatever the Empress does. She's a very highly creative being in nature, the Empress card. So it's that perhaps all of the resources and even in the working state are now filtering in where there may have been a loss or may have been a lack, more is what I like to say, or a restriction or a limitation with that Devil card energy. It may not have felt like much was coming in by way of spiritual nourishment to ultimately keep the Empress in a productive or reproductive state, because all the Empress wants to do is take what was given and magnify it, manifest it beyond what its original form was, which is what we do as reproductive feminine beings. Men, you don't know this, but this is the truth. And you're being called as masculines to do that in the creative sense, but you're receiving a lot of help from spiritual natures, literally miracles. This is what this Eight of Wands is representing. As I spoke about, miracles, things that you have prayed for, that you've pleaded for, perhaps that you have fantasized about, even that you proclaimed to be as they already were, and that you also had the faith to fortify. So you didn't necessarily just hope, keep your fingers crossed that maybe one day if you wish upon a star, it might be so. It was some work that you put behind it that would fortify that faith, that would call it into the realm in an actual practical way. It's still going to be more than what you bargained for with the Eight of Wands here, and it's still raising you. This is an elevation or an exaltation of position, so that whatever is coming in is going to automatically be an upgrade to you, masculine or feminine, I like to say. It's going to upgrade you in position, upgrade your potential for creativity, upgrade what you can manifest and how you can magnify what's already been manifested. Maybe growing a business, maybe expanding your actual family, having a baby with the Empress card here, being married, because she's a married person to that Emperor, generally speaking. Maybe marrying two businesses, expanding creativity professionally, where you're co-creating with other individuals with the Eight of Wands here, and you're bringing your energetic force and inspiration and creativity together for some big collaborative effort, something that's expansive and that can be impactful on a greater scale. That's what the energy of this moon is bringing into light, and is based on what you've already done. That was the biggest takeaway from the moon message, is that you've already worked for this. So it's important for you to really know that whatever is coming through is a gift from the divine, not just, just for gifting's sake. Not for nothing. It's something that you have actually proven yourself to be worthy of in some capacity. And in many ways, it may not be a direct correlation between the dream or wish that was meditated upon and the action that you took to manifest it. That's how the spirit is working, that it may not have been a direct force of influence from you that's calling it into play, but there was something that you were called to do, something to release, something to abstain from, to disconnect from, some different direction to take that may have not have made a lot of sense in the time that it was given and in the time that you answered to it. But because of that expression of obedience, and that surrender in the spiritual sense, because of it, that's what has allowed this energetic overflow to come into the realm, because you already presented yourself to be open to what? Receive it, and also responsible to claim it and continue in the highest vibration with however you're being led and guided to not just maintain it, but to manifest it, to multiply it. So we got this Page of Cups here. The Page of Cups is a message. It's also, okay. All right. What's here? Because I see something here. Oh, the Sun card. All right. And celebration. All right, so I see this message. The Sun is definitely positive and celebration is positive. The Page of Cups sometimes for me, but Spirit, correct me, if I'm off balance, but it's expressions, emotional expressions that it can be in many forms. But for me, a lot of times with the Page of Cups, I see it as a sorry. I see it as a regret. I see it as it can be some term of endearment or some expression of love, but it's very small in nature, is what I like to say. So maybe even some regret, or again, some flattery, even in a sense. Because now, I'm just going to say how I feel it, and if I'm corrected throughout the reading, I will definitely retract it. But I feel this is more so external energy, especially now that I'm thinking the devil was once in this position. Okay, thank you, Spirit. The devil was just here. And now there are energies that are coming from behind that spirit, or of the nature, or some derivative perhaps of that spirit, to be offering something that is more limiting. The Page of Cups to the Empress, it's not most ideal for energy rate of exchange, especially not when you're getting all this power and prestige and influence and position and opportunity and inspiration and life force igniting you and exalting you in this powerful way, where you can't even account for all the blessings and good things and miracles that are coming into your force field, and that the biggest thing that you're having to do is ultimately organize yourself to organize your engagement with it. Like literally too much goodness to handle is what I feel and what I hear. And then here come these individuals, maybe perhaps from the past, because remember, we're in retrograde city right now with 7 planets in retrograde. Still Venus is in retro, still Mercury in retro until mid-September. So it won't stop these forces from coming back, offering their apologies or offering their terms of endearment, these small love offers to be in connection with you, telling you how amazing you are, and you wondering like, what? Where you been for the last 6 months or 6 years, perhaps even for some. People are seeing the vibe that you're giving. They're seeing the blessings that you're on, and they want to see how they can align. And in some ways, it could be very innocent, which is maybe perhaps why I'm kind of like, I'm kind of like indifferent to it, because in some ways it could be very genuine that people that you once had a connection to, or even maybe new opportunities connect, are coming to the table because they see a good thing in you. And who doesn't want to be connected to a good thing? That's just the human way, So in some ways, it's of no diabolical determination or fault of their own. And in other ways, it's the opposite, where people are looking to just finesse you, ultimately giving you cups of flattery and sugary sweets of terms of endearment, telling you how great you are, how much they miss you, how sorry they are for how things ended, or how things didn't progress, or wishing they had done something differently, or just offering some new way to be in co-creation with you or connection with you spiritually, emotionally. That's the biggest takeaway here, is that this is an emotional expression of attachment. So I guess the message here is to just be mindful of the space that you're being exalted to, that you've done a lot of work. Pisces, new full moon energy, we have completed some major cycles of dark psychological work, literally been digging into astral waters that we didn't even know existed, in terms of how our lives have been traumatized, or how we've been affected by our surroundings, or our intimate connections, or just of our own regression, in this life and the last. Some things that we were actually pulling through and learning the life lessons of, that we didn't even know that we were students of, and life was teaching us some valuable lessons. You've passed a lot of tests. Literally, the Empress is the highest feminine card in the deck. You've passed a lot of tests. You've overcome a lot of circumstances. You've gained a lot of knowledge about yourself and your spiritual essence, your energetic possibilities and potentiality, that being infinitely so. And you're about to get a lot of evidence for that. That's what this energy is here, pretty much showing you your power in real time, literally showing you, actually showing you how magnetically powerful you are in spirit and in truth. Be mindful that others may see it too. And to that point, not to say anyone should be secretive about their celebration, but just be careful and be mindful of how you celebrate and with whom you celebrate your success with, because everybody doesn't have it in them to be happy for you. Some people are still coming through some healing in their own regard. Also, Page of Cups, maybe some regressed child situations that are being accounted for now, and it's okay. Like, we're all healing on our own timeline, but just be respectful of that, and ultimately protective of yourself in that reality, that where it is you may have come a long way, we may all be experiencing a different magnitude of progression, of these so-called miracles and blessings and gifts and karma and dharma that are ultimately raining down alike in the universe now, where some are receiving karma for some mismanaged energy, some are receiving the dharma for well-invested energies, and we're all sharing the same space, so as you're experiencing celebration, someone else may be experiencing sorrow. And I guess that's the double-mindedness of this card. Thank you, Spirit, for confirming. So be gracious to that. It doesn't mean that you have to sacrifice your happiness or your success, or even the celebration of such, on account of anyone else's experience. And that's where the Sun card was under here. And what was that? Oh yeah, it was the Three of Cups, which is actually celebration. So thank you again, Spirit. You don't have to sacrifice it, but just be mindful for your own safety and security that you should protect yourself. Everybody doesn't need to know. We're in this social media stage where we want to just share every little thing that we acquire, and you want to share your new home, and you want to share your new car, and you sharing how much, how it's a lot, and there are a lot of things that can, even sharing pregnancies too soon, you just have to shield your energy in this time, probably now even more so than ever before, I would say, not to be in fear, because that's a regressive spirit and that we don't want to answer to, but just to be protective, to be mindful, to be secure, and so that you can maintain that celebration for as long as possible, if not forever, but just be mindful how you're sharing in public and out loud, and even intimately so, which is why it's important to allow these retrogrades to do the filtering and releasing out for you, so that you're not sharing with hidden enemies, i.e. that Devil card, that honestly are looking for opportunities to finesse you out of your blessings, or at least to connect themselves and suck you dry of all that goodness and that good energy, so never in fear, but definitely in discernment, okay? You got a lot to lose now, and still yet more to win in the same regard. So still more to gain, I should say. All right, let's see. All right, let's see. My shuffling has been so sloppy lately. I'm sorry if you're bothered by it. I've gotten better with these new cards, but there's still just something. I think it's because of how low I'm sitting and I rest on my knees, and it doesn't give me the full range to really, like, you know, make them pop like I would like to. But that's all changing very soon. Yeah, and what is this? As I said, but the Queen is just pretty much, man, Spirit, you're amazing. Like, it's just pretty much solidified, confirmed what I said, that you need to be on guard for those that feel entitled to share your vibration. Be on guard, be discerning. The Queen of Swords is open in one regard. She's not completely closed, but what she also is a bit emotionally detached. So that Page of Cups that would come her way, that what I'm hearing is really bearing the energy and the lowest vibration of the Knight of Swords, who's coming in to take some fast action, make some aggressive move toward your vitality, you know, to feeling there's some entitlement. Yeah, here's the plan here on what? There's the 10 of Cups, as always, never late. In this spirit of resentment and remorse for this is the mismanaged actions that I spoke of, where there was energy that was poorly invested, and now this is the lower vibration of that, where people are looking back on what they invested and what it's the results that it's yielded, and looking around to see if they haven't overcome this energy, because this is a call for healing right here. Even as far back as that, those childhood experiences that have brought you to this state, these points of action anyway. These are actions that have been taken in malform, and there is plan of action taken to come in and either hold your blessings in contempt, block them, you know, block your progression altogether, or, as I said, to attach themselves to it or steal it altogether, you know what I mean? And what's here? The 10 of Pentacles, which is the material expression of the 10 of Cups. I mean, it don't really get no better than that, you know what I mean? So, as I said, protect yourself. Be discerning, be mindful. Don't be finessed by old emotional attachments presenting themselves as something new, something reformed, something fresh, you know, because that Page of Cups look very meek and mild and innocent, and may have even pulled on your heartstrings with some emotional attachment from the past, or even being in a child's position as some expression of being docile or in need, or, you know, innocent in the sense that as the Empress, your natural inclination would be to coddle or to take care of a childlike energy. You're a nurturer. That's what the Empress would automatically move to do. But you got to be mindful that those that are observing your energy, or think they even know, you know, they know how to pinpoint your flow in one way or another, know exactly how to impress upon you for their own ulterior motives. They know how to present themselves to make you feel, to ultimately make you feel, to make you feel like obligated, or even just emotionally moved. I can't think of the word I'm trying to find right now. You know, to feel this emotional incitement to be a part, or to connect, or, you know, like, it's just pulling on the heartstrings ultimately. So the Queen of Swords is not here for none of that. She can be a little bit cold-hearted, as a matter of fact, but not holistically so, because with her open hand, you can see that she may be willing to hear this Knight of Swords out, just, you know, for shits and giggles perhaps, or to really hear, you know, the Queen of Swords is like a human lie detector in a sense. She's going to hear what you're saying and decide whether it aligns with the truth of who she is, or the truth as she sees it to be, you know, how subjective that could be. But if it don't align with her truth, and it's not in honor and integrity with who she is, then that's when she's going to say no thank you, or she's going to reject that advance, you know. And so that's the encouragement. As sweet and nurturing and kind and creative and loving as you may be in the Empress position, masculine or feminine, as you're in this receiving position, still here under the 8 of Wands, and blessings are coming in by the droves day to day, you have to protect yourself, because there are just as many people watching to see how they can attach or attack, literally, as there are those that are actually going to be in connection with you to enhance what you have to offer and what you've been ultimately given, to bring value to it. And it's up to you to discern who is who. You know, someone that really is going to come in with a viable plan that's of a higher mind and essence. You know, this is taking the higher road. Someone that's going to add value to your plans and your visions and the things that you're bringing to life, and that's not going to block you. You know, even if they don't directly mean to do so in a diabolical sense, like somebody literally coming in to just cut you down, you still, again, you have to be mindful of what you're attaching your energy to, because you may be connected to someone, you know, that you feel an emotional attachment to give to that you're not assigned to. And so therefore that depletes your energy or your vitality or, you know, your material wealth altogether, because there's a mismatch in assignment. So you have to be discerning, you have to be protective and mindful of your surroundings, especially in the spirit of elevation and exaltation, of ascension is what it is. That's what this is. Physical, energetic, and spiritual ascension. Oh, that was a lot. Let's see. And here he come again. Oh, shit. OMG. All right, so we got the 10 of Cups, which definitely came out, and I think we're going to wrap it up here because I don't want this video to be too long. The 10 of Cups, the sun, which speaks for itself, the most vital source in our sphere, and also the most happiest card in the deck. Yes, I know that's not how you say it, but the happiest card in the deck. Productivity, prosperity, growth, legacy here, coupled with the Cups card. This is a multiple streams of income, spiritual fulfillment, satisfaction, you know, promise of a prosperous future, divine productivity. I mean, you can't say enough about it. Now, this King of Swords here, in spirit again, you correct me if I'm wrong. Now, it could be the expression of the masculine energy, but that's not in alignment with what I've been saying. You know, the masculine expression of the Queen of Swords, where it could be. So let's take the higher vibration first, okay? But what's throwing me off is this Knight of Cups, because what I was going to say is now the Page of Cups has now upgraded in appearance to the Knight of Cups, not just being a message of emotional expression, but now offering some emotional expression. This is literally coming with something in hand to offer you. But again, even with as low as the Queen of Swords, it's still a mismatch. And she has her back turned to it, back turned from it. Because a Queen of Cups is not looking for no diffused emotional offer from a Knight of Cups. She may entertain such from a king, but not from a knight. So that means that there's still something left to be desired in this offer, and that maybe perhaps these individuals, or whatever they are, people, places, or things, these opportunities have found a way to upgrade themselves, or at least to appear to be evolved in some way, shape, or form, even to present themselves as the Knight of Swords, which could be a match for the Queen of Swords. That could be not too far off from the Empress, in the upright, in the most honorable. But in essence, what is it? It's a Knight of Cups, and it's a Knight of Swords. Like, even as I was just trying to give the higher vibration, Spirit just brought me back down to reality, that it's still something, because in this way he's coming right at you to attack from the background, or from, you know, behind your back. It's an emotional attack. It's an emotional manipulation. You know, it's like a sleight of the hand in a sense, where he's trying to finesse you from in spaces that you can't see, or, you know, I don't even know, because this could also be communication about you to attack you. Oh, that's what I hear. So this is like a communicative attack. Could be even people talking about you, talking about how, okay, talking about this elevation, how you actually got it, what you did. You know, this could be lies, ultimately, by way of attack by way of lies or slander, that instead of, you know, celebrating or exalting your position, you know, or affirming your position, I should say, that they would speak against it. You know, the Knight of Swords, like I said, it's impulsive, it's destructive, it's determined to conquer something, you know, whatever is in its way, ultimately, to attack, ultimately. Coming straight for the Queen of Swords, who in her nature is upright and honorable, especially in the way that it's been projected. It's the masculine energy here that's in question, you know, with that Page of Cups and now this Knight of Cups. So he's coming behind trying to finesse, like he loves, he adores, and he's sorry, and he, you know, he wants to offer his heart in some way, but it's diffused, because, like I said, it's something left to be, it's underdeveloped in the way of cups. It's spiritual undevelopment, or lack of development, or immaturity, I would say, compared to a queen who is sure about her presence and her essence, and that is of Empress vitality. No ma'am, no sir. No matter if you're masculine or feminine, it's a no-go. And with the Knight of Swords here, as I said, this could be what's actually happening, that the attack is happening by way of words and slander and lies and just a finesse or fabrication of the truth to ultimately impose some emotional manipulation on others, again, as I said, that may be seeing your evolution, that may be seeing what, you know, in some ways you can conceal some things, but there's some things that just can't be concealed when you are evolving in a spiritual sense, and spirit may be blessing you in ways that just can't be unnoticed. So it would be a diabolical force, back to that Devil card, that would speak lies against your evolution and your elevation, to say that it's something that it's not, or it's undeserving, or is on account of someone or something else, or, you know, just distortions. It could be so many things that don't even really matter in the grand scheme of things, but that's the attack on your character, on your honor, on your ascension, you know, to bring it, to diminish it from the outside, and also to project to, I would say from the outside, and then to finesse you from the inside, or from behind the scenes, from behind your back, coming behind you with this Knight of Cups, trying to offer you something endearing or emotionally effective that could more or less be poison if you're not careful. You know, before you know it, it could be venomous to your vitality. So again, be mindful, be discerning, be careful. Know that the spirit is watching all sides, but it's still up to us as active agents in this body, in this realm, to take the necessary precautions for our own protection. And with the Knight of Swords, I will say plainly, in the highest vibration, it could absolutely be the expression of the masculine energy who is proactive about protecting this vitality. You know, the queens, the female energies, are always going to be reactive and receptive. The masculine, he's not even going to let you get through the door. You wouldn't even get past him. To, you know, where she might listen to you and consider, might let you talk through the gate. The King of Swords is going to chop you, or send his kingsmen to chop you before you even approach the gate. He's going to see you from a mile off, you know. And that is the highest vibration of that vitality, that you get to embody both in a sense as it's discerning to be so and to do so. Whether you're feminine or masculine listening, that you get to still be in receptive mode, still have a heart open for love, for prosperity, for promotion, for progression, still be, because to be completely closed off, not willing to connect to anything could actually put you in a stagnant place. You could miss an opportunity that is good for you, by turning your back on it or cutting it off before it even gets to express itself. But it's, to me, in the highest vibration now, calling for a synergy between both the masculine and feminine, as still embodied by the highest queen in the deck, which being the Empress, to still be in reception and reproductivity mode and creative mode, but still having this this focus on what is truly honorable, what makes sense, what is logical. This is also the expression of genius and an elevated force of intellectual vitality in the masculine and feminine form. Very smart. There's not a lot you can get past those energies intellectually. And as I said, they are so discerning that they're not swayed by emotional prowess. They're not distracted by emotional detachments. Now, sometimes that can be a detriment, but in this sense, considering we led with the Empress and we have the Sun here and even the Ten of Cups, which is definitely an expression of spiritual and emotional fulfillment. It says that there's a synergy here, and perhaps these are the counterparts in a sense that are expressed in this Ten of Cups energy, that just know how to protect their legacy, how to protect their dynasty, how to protect their divine alignment and divine ordinance, their pathway, ultimately. One may be protective in one sense, and another may offer another layer of protection, and the spirit covers all. And in the highest vibration, I receive that as such. In the lowest vibration, it's just being mindful of people that are knights in I had a message about this, shady knights in shining armor, that are presenting themselves to be of some high value, masculine or feminine, mind you, because we can have feminine knights too, right? Yeah, sure. That are presenting themselves to be high value and an asset to your kingdom, to your creativity, but ultimately have an ulterior motive. That's that. So in any event, I feel that if it's one way or another, it's still, whether this is a partnership that is protected or an individual who has collectively successfully embodied these vibrations, it still speaks to you being equipped to be most discerning and most protective over your prosperity. Okay, last but not least, let's see what's at the top. Oh, and this reading is awesome. It's the Strength card and the Fool, which is about these new beginnings that are on the horizon. You taking leaps of faith, or haven't taken leaps of faith, that have led you to this fortified place of fortune, is what I hear. But let's just focus on the Strength card. I mean, we can still pull that out too. Oh, and then the King of Pentacles, more prosperity. Come on now, don't do too much. Now we're trying to get out of here. So yeah, so again, you have the Fool card. Now, it can also be the low vibration of these fools and these shady knights in shining armor that still think they have a chance in hell to finesse you. It could be that, but even still, here's the Strength card, which has fortified you in spirit and in truth. You have overcome the wiles of the devil. I think I even spoke about pride and ego. This is the expression of that card. And as I always like to say, as your angelic karma says, where there's strength, the devil is lurking. The devil's been put away at this point, and he hasn't come back, thankfully. Now, he may try to present himself in the different faces of people, places, and things, or the expressions of people, places, and things. But this says that you have the strength to have already overcome the worst of obstruction and distraction. You've overcome yourself, the biggest distraction of all, that intel that speaks from within, that ego that roars from within to ultimately keep you from progressing into these positions of prosperity and prominence. You've overcome that. We that was at the very top of the reading when the devil card came out. This is the strength that you now have the evidence, the receipts of, by way of the rewards that are coming into the realm. You know, Saturn as I said, Saturn was the game changer in the moon message. Saturn doesn't just give you anything for free. You have earned the right to these rewards, whatever they may be for you. And it's unique to everyone. Everybody's wish fulfillment and happily ever after is not the same. It may not even be a family or kids or love. It could just be a job that it could be a job that you love. It could be a business that's thriving. It could be a great group of friends. You know, it could be an awesome professional collaboration. You know, it could be anything, but it's unique to you, and it's something that you've been manifesting since the top of this year for the most part, that you've had your eyes, your mind, your heart, your spirit set on, and you were willing to make the necessary surrenders and sacrifices and realignments and situating yourself to be in a position to actually receive what the spirit always wanted to give you anyway. You know, it was always destined for you to have. You always had the potential to receive it. It was just a matter of the perception, you know, to actually believe, be in the believing state of it. As I said in the moon message, it's believing that is seeing. You had the fortitude to believe for the things that weren't tangible, you know, to believe for the possibilities of your fantasies to be true, the potential in yourself to create them, to manifest them and maintain them, doing the work to release anything that wasn't in alignment with that truth, ultimately to fortify yourself as this empress status where you're open to receive and reproduce. You had the faith to hear the unspoken, that still small voice that was leading and guiding you from the inside out, that often didn't really make a lot of sense, you know, and definitely didn't align with who you are conventionally or who you felt conditioned to be, in a sense. Definitely didn't feed your ego or do your pride any favors, but you followed that voice anyway because you trusted it and you trusted yourself to be guided accordingly. You felt the untangible, those emotions that were signs and signals. You saw the unseen, again, that fantasy of life that you held for yourself in high regard, and you didn't allow people to tell you it was impossible and that it was silly or it was ridiculous or even wrong or demonic in the first place to want, to desire, to have. You know, you sensationalized the spirit, or I should say you allowed the spirit to be sensationalized for you so that now you could be in the reception of the manifestation of those sensations, or the manifestation of that spiritual sensation, if that makes sense. I think I said a little bit too much there in that mouthful, but I think you know what I mean, you know, because it's kind of hard to decipher, you know, how this all came about, because many of it came from a place that, as I said, was intangible, was unknown. It was deep, dark in our astral world, in our subconscious, in the corners of our mind, that we were sifting away things that no longer served us, whether we even knew we were doing that or not. But there was a call that we were answering to. It might have been in a small way. Perhaps you were incited to stop smoking, as I was, you know, to stop drinking, to stop eating a certain thing, to meditate at least a few minutes every day, to take long walks in the park, to exercise, to connect more with your children, to quit your job, to stop watching certain things, stop listening to certain things. It doesn't even mean it was, like I said in my message, it wasn't a direct alignment to what you were manifesting, but it was you trusting the spirit that was trusting you to ultimately create yourself to be this reproductive being, to be the receptive energy of all this force, this life force that's just been looking for a host to co-create with. You did that. by the way of your own strength. Yes, and with support of spirit and the supreme source of all that you surrender or submit to or not, and the angelic realms and heavenly hosts and, you know, all ancestors and way showers and guides. However you see it, you still were the active agent that had to put into play those that intel that was streaming in from sources known and unknown. You did it. Congratulations. And because you did it, you're going to see the fruits and rewards of your labor by way of Saturn, which is going to give you evidence for what your possibilities are and your potential of power is, so that can fortify your throne even more as the Empress or the Emperor, okay? And that you can continue to maintain that position of strength and force over your lowest nature to create a balance, not to overpower it in the sense that it doesn't have value, because as I said, we're sensational creatures. We are given the gift of experiencing life in its most tangible way, as opposed to intangible energies that they only get to express through us or to experience through us. We've been given that gift as human beings, and we are allowed to be human in every sense of the expression. We are also called to be spiritual. And as long as we continue to maintain that balance, there's nothing that the universe, supreme source, will withhold from you in that regard. The rewards are yours. Congratulations, celebrate, be safe, be secure, be sound, and yeah, that's it. And rest also, and rest, because still what you might be getting used to is just, it might be exhausting in a sense to, like I said, to harness all of this goodness, all of this happiness, all of this healthiness and wealthiness that's pouring into your energetic field. It may be exhausting in itself just to wrap your mind around it, to actually believe, and as you're seeing the reward manifest in real time, for your mind to catch up with what you're experiencing might be exhausting energetically. So give yourself grace to grow with this experience, this newfound experience of prosperity, and in every way that it completely encompasses you, okay, and completely absorbs your reality. All right, I think that's enough. I hope it's not too long, but thank you for being here in any regard. And you have a happy, super full moon and every other moon beyond this time. My God, if I don't talk to you, but I hope that I will. And until next time, peace.